Here's another thing. I don't know if you guys get this, but I was looking on Penny Arcade and I see this ad. It's like these two chicks, like they're surprised. Like, what the hell is that thing? Add inches with Vimax. Want to shock girls? It's like this. I don't know if this is a virus that changes all my ads to this because I don't think it's normally on this page. I've seen it on Mini Nova. I've seen it on YouTube. And like, here's another ad. What in the fuck? Shock her with your new penis size. And here's one. What in the hell? It's like their eyes are like giant sized. Stand out of the crowd. Try Vimax. That shit. Some pubes in that picture. And this one, there's some guys covering up their junk. And then this was like a forum where somebody else had this problem. They were talking about it. And I don't know if this was supposed to be a spoof, but it's like The Matrix. I actually saw an ad that was a guy, and his eyes were popping out like he's supposed to be a gay guy. Is like a guy taking a leak and looks down and sees he has huge Johnson all of a sudden. It's crazy though. I think it's some kind of virus that changes all my ads to penis enlargement pills. I want to get a virus scanner and delete it, but it's just too funny. So I just kind of want to live with it and let it go. Here's another thing. When I was looking up Vimax, I found this. Like a woman with her two kids. I'm like, what in the fuck is that? And it says at the top, Vimax Adventures. And there's that guy. I guess they're using the penis enlargement pills to have a lot of kids. Maybe with this dog watching or involved somehow. And there's the two kids, and maybe they're using Vimax with the kids. They look kind of, that one looks a little scared. But then I looked up and I saw Vimax is an abbreviation of their names, Victor and Maxime. And these are like some family that does like hiking or climbing mountains or something. That has nothing to do with Vimax pills, but goddamn, that was funny as hell. Now for some random stuff that I was thinking about over the weekend that I didn't have time to talk about in the last video. I mentioned Fringe, and it's a really good show. And it's kind of weird that YouTube people are always talking about Fringe and Lie to Me and these new TV shows. I think being a YouTube partner is making them, like YouTube's making them have to talk about certain things to fulfill their contracts or something, because it just looks like a bunch of ads. And I don't know why so many people have been emailing me, asking me to become a YouTube partner, look into it. Like, why would any sane person want me to become a YouTube partner and have to look at ads? Like, it's like asking to be smacked in the face or something. Like, why would you want ads on my videos? It doesn't benefit you at all, so why are you bugging me about it? But Fringe is actually a pretty good show. And Lie to Me is pretty good too, about the guy who uses like facial gestures and stuff to figure out if somebody's lying, telling the truth, or what's going on. Like, I'm not with all these crazy like crime solving stuff now. There's also a guy on The Mentalist who's like a former fake psychic magician or whatever, and he kind of uses mental processes to figure out what people are doing and solve crimes, kind of like Sherlock Holmes. But there's a little known show I don't hear anybody talking about, at least. It's called 11th Hour, which is really good. It's pretty much like Fringe, only it's a different guy, Jacob Hood. He's like a science advisor. And some of the cases are kind of more interesting to me, like there's a flesh-eating sexually transmitted disease. There's like a guy that had two hearts. There was like this spring that had like this magical water. It was curing everybody, and they figured out what it was. And clones on there. That pretty interesting science stuff. Like Fringe is pretty good too. Like they had the show with the giant cold virus, and they had well, the acting is better. I like the guy from Dawson's Creek and the old man. I don't really care about the blonde woman so much. She kind of annoys me and uninteresting. But the blonde one on 11th Hour is just as uninteresting. The chick that's on Life is pretty good. She'd be a good actress for that show. That's a show about the guy who was in prison for life. He was a cop, and then he gets released because they figured I didn't do it. So he was like an innocent man in jail for 20 years or something, and he gets like this big $10 million reward settlement, and he buys a huge mansion, and he's trying to track down his killer. It's really good. He's like a Buddhist. Anyway, I was watching Legend of Wayne's video about Twilight and why he thought it was a pretty decent movie. Somebody in the comments was saying that it felt more like a made-for-TV movie, and it got me thinking about like a lot of these TV shows today that are like 45 minutes or an hour long. If you just took 2 episodes, stuck them together, you could make a movie really easily. So I don't know why they don't do that. Like I know Stargate made some movies after SG-1 quit, and they made some Atlantis movies. But like Stargate, shows like that, and Battlestar Galactica that have a really high production value. It's pretty much TV shows are getting the same as movies nowadays. So they could just make more movies. I don't know like how much it costs to make these TV shows nowadays, but it's getting pretty crazy. Here's a random topic. I think Miley Cyrus as a person is pretty cool. Like, she'd be cool to hang out with. She's from the South. She doesn't act like a celebrity. So as a person, I kind of like Miley Cyrus. But as an entertainer and a celebrity, I don't really like her so much. She kind of annoys me. Especially the Hannah Montana persona. Like, I think she should get out of the business as soon as she can. If she has like $500 million, or who knows how much money she has, if she has like publishing rights or whatever, if she does her own songs, or I have no idea what the situation is with her financially, but don't stay in the entertainment business very long because you just become a dick. Unless you have something important to say and you need the popularity to get your word out, which is kind of what I'm doing. Like, I don't want to be super famous. I just want to be famous enough that I can say stuff that comes up in my head, like ideas. I can get it out in the world so that when I die, I don't completely die. I have like ideas that I came up with that survived on and memories and stuff. That's all I'm really looking for. I don't care about being famous. I just like having enough people that I can say something and have somebody hear me instead of just thinking it in my head and then dying and never anybody ever find out or know that I came up with some stuff. Also, I watched the slam dunk contest in the All-Star game the other day, and what was the guy's name? Dwight something? I don't really know NBA names, but he did this thing. He got the Superman cape on. He went into the phone booth. He brought out a forklift, and he raised the goal up to like 12 feet instead of 10 feet, just to show how high he could dunk. And he did like with ease. He probably could have done it with like a 13-footer. I was thinking, what could you do to like one-up that? And LeBron James is going to be in the next one supposedly, so I'm thinking instead of raising the goal up higher, just strap a midget onto your back and then do it. Just do a regular dunk on a normal go with like Eric the Midget from the Howard Stern show, duct tape around you so he doesn't fall off, because you gotta be careful with the midget so he doesn't hurt his head when you go up. Maybe even have two goals, like he dunks on one goal and the midget dunks on another goal, if you could do that. Maybe use Beetlejuice or Mini-Me from the Austin Powers movies, I don't know, somebody. Just strap them onto your back, duct tape them on there with security tape or whatever, and then that'd be pretty cool. It's like two guys powered by one man's legs. I also watched the All-Star game of Horse, which is boring as fuck. Oh my god. They missed so many shots, it's unbelievable that they're even NBA players. The last thing I wanted to talk about was I watched Afro Samurai, the anime movie, like the second one. I guess there's a first one I didn't see, but the thing with Afro Samurai is they have these headbands, which are like these legendary headbands that make you really good with swords, apparently, or something. I don't even know if they do that, if it's just kind of like a trophy for being the #1 guy. Because there's like a #1 headband and a #2 headband, and he lost the #1 headband. He had to go kill the samurai with the #2 headband to get the headband to go back and fight the guy with the #1 headband. And I don't know what to do with his headbands, but Afro Samurai was a dick anyway. He was like, he fighting this #2 samurai guy that was like taking care of this orphan kid, and he ends up killing him, leaving this little kid orphan. He doesn't even care. He just walks off, and the kid follows him trying to get his revenge, and he's like telling him to come back and fight him when he's stronger, and just a dick. And like, he even, when he's fighting the #2 samurai guy, he grabs this innocent dude and sticks him in front of his sword so that he gets killed while he kills the #2 samurai guy. Like, he sacrifices some innocent dude for his own personal gain. Like, what a dick! Black people should not be samurais. But that's not the point of what I'm going to talk about. It's the games. When you make video games based around somebody that has godlike abilities, like, he's pretty unstoppable, this Afro Samurai guy is. But not just him. Anybody that's like God of War, he's probably one of these kind of guys that you probably never die in the game. Like, you're probably just so invincible that you just go through and it's not a challenge. I don't know, I never played God of War. But NoobTube, Tobin00 on YouTube was talking about Afro Samurai. Like, you just click on XX or AA or YY, whatever you click on, you're going to win. There's no way to lose. There's no challenge there. Even if there's like 10 guys that swarm you, you just do this move, you just decapitate everybody at once or something. It's like, those kind of games, seems like you should make them more like a rhythmically memorizing type game. Like, not like Dance Dance Revolution or Guitar Hero or anything like that, but more like you remember certain ways to do things. Like in Mario Brothers, where you used to memorize like where all the holes are in the ground and the best way to jump up stairs and the best way to jump on a turtle's head and stuff and survive. Kind of like that, like get it ingrained into your memory where you have to memorize a level. Like you have to memorize like which slashes to do, which way to block and hit this guy over here, and then you got to cut over to this guy. And the farther you get into the game, the more you'd have to have memorized. It's kind of like a really huge game of Simon. Remember that game with the 4 different colored lights you had to memorize? So anybody that made it to the end of the game would have to be like insanely good. They'd be like the #1 samurai in the world that could remember all of the moves in the game. I mean, you'd have to have save points, because going back and restarting everything would be annoying as hell. But I don't know. It's really hard to make games with a godlike superhero that can never die. Just like in Superman, you have to sacrifice your integrity of the story if you want to make it any good, because in the old Superman games, something like a little tin can or something would hit Superman and knock his health down. Like, what the hell are you doing to Superman? He can't just be killed by tin cans flying through the air. He's like, bullets bounce off of him and he can't die, and he's never ages, and he can do pretty much anything he wants. But in like the games, you usually can't even fly. You can't do any like heat vision stuff till later on, or they limit you down somehow. Like Superman is a good example of a character that's way too overpowered to make good games about. So yeah, I like the games where you start out pretty much from humble beginnings, you have nothing, and you like work your way up. And then by the end of the game, you're pretty godlike, but you're also fighting like Diablo, Lord of Destruction, somebody that's also a godlike character that's really hard to kill. Makes more sense to me that way, to start out from nothing than to just go into the game and you're just invincible. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say.